In the 10 years that I have been facilitating strategy and innovation for businesses, there's a little something that I've stumbled onto that I wanted to share with you. And this is specifically to do with brainstorming and problem solving. So when I'm working with a group of people, we'll go through a whole process to unlock their creativity, to get them into this kind of creative, innovative mindset. There'll have been a lot of laughter in the room, a lot of fun, a lot of play. And then we get down to saying, right, now let's think about your business. Let's see if we can bring the same open-minded innovation to the problems that you face. And people are up for it, they're excited, and we kind of flesh out what the business issue or opportunity is that they want to look at. And then they sit down and they start brainstorming using the techniques and tools that I've taught them. So two things happen. The one is suddenly all that play and creativity disappears. In fact, everyone gets incredibly serious. We're here to think about work and we're trying to solve this problem. And the thinking becomes really small and it becomes really, really safe. And something that I teach to people or share with them is a quote that I heard a few years ago, which really resonated for me. And that is that where there is seriousness, there is ego. And where there is play, there is heart. And that's why in a thinking environment, you want to have that playfulness because you want to know that the ideas you're having have got heart involved in them, not just head, because often the head ideas are very great. They're conceptual, but sometimes they're safe and they don't always take us to that next level. So that's the one thing that happens. Everyone gets really serious because they're thinking about work, and I'm there to kind of push them and say, come on guys, let's get back to that fun. Let's access really new, fresh ideas. But then the second thing that happens, and this blows me away every time, is people will get into the process, they're planning, they're coming up with ideas, they're brainstorming, they're all really kind of fired up. And then I'll arrive at their table or at their flip chart, and I'll say, great, what's your idea? And they'll go, well, we've looked at this problem, and our idea is, we're going to enhance efficiency and just improve teamwork. And they are thrilled. They feel like they've solved the problem. And I have to stand there and go, well, that's not an idea. That's an ideal. This is something that occurred to me a few years into this, was that people somehow, instead of having ideas, they have ideals. So they put down what they want, but they don't put down the how they're going to make it happen, the actual idea. And I've realized that the reason this maybe happens more and more when people start thinking about an issue that actually affects them is our brain is afraid of failure. It's afraid of hard work. So it's much easier to think in terms of ideals. Of course we want efficiency. We want morale to go up. We want improved productivity. That's what we want. But if that's what we put down in our brainstorming session, we're going to come back in a year's time and go, well, why has nothing changed? And what we end up doing is just moaning about the fact that these things haven't shifted. Why? Because you haven't had an idea of how to shift them, of how to move forward. So my job as a thinking facilitator is to be that really irritating person that comes up to you and goes, great, I love your ideal. How are we going to improve teamwork? Can you give me something on a weekly basis that you're going to do, that you can manage and you can measure, that's going to enhance this ideal that you have? And let's take that ideal and let's turn it into an idea. So the next time you are running a strategy session or a brainstorming, problem solving workshop with your team, I want you to be aware of two things. First, look at the energy in the room as you start getting into the creative thinking part of your process. Is it getting serious? Are people kind of starting to furrow their brows and think really deeply, and suddenly the ideas are getting really safe, really small, maybe quite close to what you've already been doing? If that is happening, you need to up the play in the room. So get people to stand up, move them around, put on a silly song, do high fives, whatever you want to do, just to get that playfulness back in, and have someone in the room that keeps going, okay guys, if anything was possible, what would we do? How could we make this work? Like, well, if anything was possible, if gravity didn't exist, if budget wasn't an issue, what is your big idea? And take that wild idea and make it feasible later. Okay, so keep that play, keep that energy in so that your thinking has got heart. And on the other side is, as the thinking emerges, just keep an eye on, are you thinking in ideals or are you thinking in ideas? Those ideals are important. If we want improved efficiency, enhanced morale, an increase in productivity, that is what we want. But make sure you don't walk out the room with just those as bullet points, because nothing's ever going to change. Take that ideal and say, okay, how are we going to do this? What would our business have to look like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis for this ideal to come to life? So I hope that's useful. Please let me know below if this really stands out for you. Maybe you've noticed this in your own business, that there's this tendency to stick in the world of ideals because we can't fail over here. And how can you, as a leader, help your team to move into the idea space, which is filled with heart, it's filled with creativity, and then find the courage to action those ideas and see what magic you can create. I look forward to chatting to you soon. Cheers!